rather than the Brigitte.
Loves to make the plays, Roro, so he's feeling a lot more comfortable. Modern on Junkrat, though, that would not be very comfortable. Get off it, son. Get off it.
So might be some strange strategy cooked up in the labs in New Zealand.
We might send some warning pipes. Gets off it.
Different kind of explosives. Going to take a little bit longer for that to be acquired by Modern, but onto the point, already starting to put that bit of pressure onto... Oh, what is going on here?
Passo's been caught alone and hacked. Athletico managed to dive back upon him and give him the resources he needs, but he's been pushed out again by Roro, and they've really isolated their tank player.
I mean, I don't know that anyone's necessarily isolated Passo there. I think he just jumped off on his own. Miscommunication, perhaps. Whatever the case, it means he's down there alone and doesn't have the backup that he needs as a Reinhardt. And unfortunately, it's going to mark the end of the point, I'm sure, for Athletico. Warriors aren't going to fumble an advantage like this one.
No, they've just been able to isolate targets and go from next to next. Ooh, Huss almost losing that duel to the Baby Diva, but his mate Roro there is to clean it up. He's almost got the EMP barrage combo too, so next fight's looking like a really rough one for Athletico.
Not only the next fight, but perhaps quite a few to come.
They could be speedrunning this, honestly.
So far, so good for Warriors in that department.
Okay, it looks like they're going to swap half. Okay, so they've deleted the barrage as well. So it is just going to be an EMP and maybe a nano boost going into this next fight for the side of Athletico to deal with. That makes things a little easier, but it means that the transition to the third and the second phase is becoming a lot better for the Warriors.
Well, Kojay does just avoid the hack for a moment, but how much of a reprieve is that as straight away after the EMP is thrown in, it's going to collect Wubo, Passo and D-Field, and one of those players is down immediately. It's a trade for the Reinhardts at the very least, as Modern does fall as well. An eye on Tongue with that. Always an impressive display from him as the Bio Nade goes through, not to mention the Nano Boost on top of Noz. Everything's being invested into the Zarya right now, trying to charge that Graviton Surge up, and in fact he's catching up to Wubo. 67% now actually overtakes Wubo and dispatches of him. What a great fight there for Noz. What a great fight for Warriors as, again, they continue the speedrun.
It was looking pretty rough when Goops hit that nice anti-nade onto Modern and manages to take him out, so it'll be a one-for-one trade, but Tongue and Noz steadying the ship, Noz coming through with a lot of charge, getting nano boosted, and farming this Graviton Surge up very quickly. Warriors now with the big upper hand as Huss has another EMP. He started last fight off with the EMP and he finishes with one.
Well, EMP Shadow will be the name of the game here for Warriors, I feel.
They're just kiting off this rally. You don't want to get caught up in that.
It's going to take another couple of seconds for Huss to get the EMP up as well. So it wasn't quite at that mark just yet for Warriors, but it will be shortly. He continued to wrap around. Now taking the high ground is Warriors.
Tongue getting that prime position to throw an anti-nade into this EMP too.
See Huss dancing around on the top side of the screen, just under the bridge there, and Translocate will come in, so 2 does EMP. That's going to collect Passo. The sound barrier does well enough to keep Athletico fairly healthy, but is it going to be healthy enough through the Graviton Surge? Modern with a Fire Strike is going to get 2 charges on through as well, but doesn't actually manage to pick up Quad J. Needs to work on those bowling moves, but nonetheless, Warriors are going to win the fight as well. And this might be the fastest time we've seen it yet on Kings Row.
Athletico did a good job there of pressuring Modern. As soon as that EMP came out, they all focused Modern, and he didn't end up getting his Earth Shatter off. It got cancelled by D-Field, actually. So that was a good, making the best out of a bad situation for Athletico. They gave themselves a chance to win that fight, and they made the Graviton Surge come out from Noz. And now the return Graviton Surge. Wubo throws it in, but the sound barrier on the side of Warriors keeps them all safe, and they're able to kite this off.
Yeah, Tongue just about going to have that.
And another EMP is close for Huss, and another Earth Shatter.
Has got himself an Earth Shadow as well, so maybe timing is going to be everything here for Athletico. Well, EMP hits 5, and the Shadow goes down as well. So 2 does Wubo, Passo, D-Field. They're all falling. It's Noz that's cleaning house right now for Warriors, which is really exactly what you want to be seeing right now, because it means the Graviton Surge is going to be lurking in wait for the next fight. Quad J, the last alive by the payload, just trying to buy time for the respawns in that Baby Diva form, but how much time can really be bought against this Warriors team who is just on a tear.
Yeah, who's feeding Hustle these EMPs? He must be cheating. He's getting them so fast.
He's almost got another one.
He's almost got another one. Yeah, again. So, I mean, someone needs to stop feeding poor Huss. Or not poor Huss.
I mean, yeah, he's not poor at this point. He's very rich. Rich indeed. Well, Shatter here for Paso. We took that through from the last fight. Wasn't able to get it out, and perhaps won't be able to get it out this time. It does actually be thrown in. Huss on the ground. Translocates out just in time. Bionade goes through onto a couple of Warriors players, but when all's said and done, all the Warriors players are still alive. And Huss now is going to come up on the EMP. Is at 99%, and this will be the re-engage. Translocator thrown in, and the EMP connects onto 4 Athletico players. This surely is the death sentence now for Athletico. Roro, Modern, Noz, all popping up in the kill feed. Just D-Field and Design to try and stall out as long as possible, but it can't last here for Athletico. Warriors have completed a very fast time on Kings Row.
Yeah, and if you're getting an EMP every, minute, 10 seconds, or whatever the speed was, Modern jumping off the map for the second time.
Yeah, how many EMPs was that? Like 5?
That was 5, and every time he had the EMP, they went for the fight win and they got it. Atletico didn't play too badly around the EMP. They did some nice little things there to stop the damage, but if you're giving that many EMPs up, if you just can't play around that. Maybe you can stop 1 or 2 on a map, but you can't stop them all.
Well, it's definitely feeling a lot better for Huss on Kings Row than it did against Order in the grand final at IEM Sydney last season.
Yeah, he got to play the game this time, which is really nice. And when he gets to play the game, he's usually a pretty impactful player as Huss.
Yep. So that's a fairly foreboding task then for Athletico, particularly on what is match point, really. Down 2-0. You're going to need to complete Kings Row with a very good time, no less, and then beat Warriors again in the time bank. If I was a betting man, I'd be probably putting money on the Warriors at this point.
Yeah, I'd put my house on the Warriors at the moment. They're looking too strong, too disciplined. Tung, Noz, all their big name players are popping off too. Noz played well on the Zarya there. He used the Graviton Surges at interesting times, more of a defensive than anything, really. When the aggression tried to come out from the side of Athletico on that third point, Noz answered with the Graviton Surge just to steady the team, steady the fight pace. Yeah. So Warriors could re-engage with that Huss EMP and finish the fight off.
I think that's fine when you're getting the aggression out of the Earth Shatter and the EMP combo. You're winning fights that way. It's then a case of just making sure Athletico can't really get back into the game. And that was well done by Warriors. They never gave Athletico an inch. In that instance, then they definitely couldn't take a mile.
This is a common spot for Sombras to sit at the start of the match. Gets good poke and good vision, but Huss found out. But now he's in a position behind the backline. Doesn't get the hack on the Reinhardt, unfortunately. But Paso has been anti-nated and he goes down very quickly.
Zion's trying to cause problems for Tung, but it seems as though Tung is fairly unpressured. Perhaps I spoke too soon. It seems as though there was no nade available for Tung there, so he will fall to Design. But that is the only pick the Warriors are going to achieve, or are going to lose, I should say, in this fight. The only one that Athletico achieved.
Yeah, Tung ended up using his Biotic Grenade onto Paso. And that was what sealed Paso's death, but as soon as you use your Biotic Grenade as your Ana player, if you're not in a position to be helped by your supports, you're very vulnerable. He wasn't in a position to get an armor pack, wasn't in a position to get the boots or the heals and Lucio, so he went down pretty quickly. But Mod's built a very fast Shatter.
Yeah. And he's going to use a very fast Shatter as well. Modern, another couple of kills for him, well, a kill and assist, but to give him credit for the second as well, I'm sure. This is on the ground, having a bit of a nap. That's, come on mate, wake up. Still got half a game to play. I know it seems like it's over, but it's not yet.
No, and he has the EMP again, so I'm guessing that that's going to be the go time for the Warriors. They might EMP, throw the rally in there, and get stuck in again. They could actually do an interesting ult rotation here, where they use Noz's Graviton Surge first, and then to build the Shatter up for Modern. Well, they've got so many options now coming in. This is exactly where you want to be if you're the defending team.
Roger not quite with the EMP just yet, but even if when he gets it up, the question is it going to be a decent one? Well, grab goes through, so maybe Huss actually hangs on to the EMP this fight, if that's a possibility. Ideally, maybe not going to be though, as Paso will dispatch of Roro, and well, speaking of holding on to the EMP, I think that's probably what he needs to do at this point. That fight has just gone totally haywire for Warriors, and it is actually going to be Athletico to cap out point A. It's looking like such a good hold for Warriors, and then I don't know, that feels like a really soft fight to lose.
Yeah, I think that was a bit spoiled for choice there. They didn't know what they wanted to use quite in what order, so they ended up going down. Paso ends up getting the nano boost and logging Roro with that big hammer of his, and that ends the fight, really. Where Roro uses his ult, goes down immediately after, and that sets a bad start of the fight for the Warriors. They can't really come back from that. But now, the EMP Shatter combo from the Warriors, in a point where it's pretty hard to dodge too.
Well, Husk gets it off first. Quad J was not collected in the EMP, so he might even get a better one, but time is of the essence naturally against an EMP like that, and Warriors are going to run over Athletico. 3 kills go their way.
Athletico caught sleeping there as well. They didn't even need the shatter from Modern. They were able to get the picks off pretty early, so there might have been some players out of position and trying to use their movement abilities, or relying on their movement abilities to get back to the team, and Husk has just disabled those movement abilities and they've ended up getting the kills. Warriors now, they do have a defensive ult on the side of Jungle Jazz. Will he be able to counter the Quad J EMP?
Modern gets the shadow down first. Is that going to be an impactful part of this fight? Perhaps not. Sound barrier here to try and keep Warriors alive, but Modern dropping dangerously low will block the shatter, however, so he's still a man alive, still a shield for his team. And the Bionade, the nano boost coming on through from Tung is going to pop Modern back up to full HP. As Athletico try to capitalize on everything that they've invested into this fight. They do catch Husk. He was isolated, he was on his own. And now the rest of the pins are going to fall. Finally, Athletico getting some success here. And the last alive go down.
It was a perfectly timed sound barrier out of Jungle Jazz on the Lucio too, so they gave him every chance to turn around the fight. Modern gets the nano boost, and they looked really good, the Warriors there, but Athletico just able to commit more ults, just get this fight, you know, pushed into areas that will favor them, into the corridors and such. So Warriors now, they give it up a lot of space. But again, you look up on the top right of your screen, there's Husk and another EMP.
Yep.
Name a more iconic duo of this map, Husk and having EMP.
He's actually managed to catch the translocator from Quad J as well, who did get stunned up. That's so perfect from Warriors. It's going to mean that this fight doesn't necessarily need as much of an investment as you might have ordinarily thought. And if it does come to an investment, well, it's going to be very late in the fight as well.
Yeah, Paso going very aggressive while the rest of his team runs away just allows them to disengage cleaner, but now it's a very difficult area to set up an attack because Husk has every opportunity to EMP exactly where he wants to. Warriors have a massive ult bank too, and the cart is so far away from the attacker spawn that you might only get 1 or 2 fights here.
I don't think you're getting any more than 2. But you're right, it might only be even 1. Although knowing that Husk has the EMP probably marks this as a fairly quick fight, in which case Athletico will have time to rally. But we'll see how it does end up playing out. Graviton Surge is going to be through from Nos. Shadow actually was invested by Paso, and the fight's kind of gone a little bit of awry for Warriors. Husk is still hanging on to this EMP. I don't think he's going to end up using it here. Again, it sort of strikes me in a similar context as the fight that we saw on point A that Athletico finally managed to push on through, in that Warriors try to get something done, but the execution wasn't quite there, and they give up the point.
Yeah, they tried to use the Graviton Surge instead of the other ultimates, and it's a hard ult to execute. They're looking sloppy at the side of the Warriors, actually. It looks like they've taken their foot off the pedal a little bit, something I've accused them of before in dropping map 4s, but now they're doing it on map 3. That's a bit dangerous. Only the Earth Shadow used in Athletico that fight, so now they have a nice ultimate bank to come into here, but they've got to stop this EMP from Husk.
Well, they're not going to be able to do that. It hits 4 or 5 people. I'm not so sure how many it was, but doesn't seem to have had much of an impact for Warriors at all. The sound barrier came down, didn't collect design, and that's the important character. That's the one that you need to hit there as Husk. All of a sudden, now we look at Warriors with 0 ultimates to their name. Jungle's going to have sound barrier up, perhaps, if this fight lasts long enough, but Athletico, they're in a position to push this through with time available.
Yeah, they're doing something the Order loves to do, which is this forward hold here. If they have Graviton Surge, they can stop them from contesting. They have Graviton Surge, they have Earth Shatter. The cart has been contested though, so this hold doesn't really work out that well.
Shadow's going to be thrown in there as well from Paso. It's just an absolute blender right now between Warriors and their spawn campers Athletico, but the charge onto the point is in action, and Modern won't be able to get there, nor will Jungle, who was just jumping over the top.
So after a sloppy defense, Warriors do get punished by Athletico, and now that we've got a full map cap, we've got a match on our hands. I think Warriors, if they want, they'll want this map back, because they had every opportunity to win every single fight. I don't think there was any fight where they looked to be in a disadvantage, but they just were hesitant on using their ult combinations, or they wanted to get too greedy and too efficient with their ults, and
yeah,
they ended up
I sort of feel as though it was the latter there. I feel as though Warriors are trying to take really economic fights where, you know, if Husk throws in an EMP earlier in those fights, there's almost, I feel like, no chance that Athletico actually do end up winning them. But they take a a little bit too long to execute what they need to their Warriors. That I feel is a pretty easy fix though, you know, especially with a minute 15 on the clock here for Athletico. It's not going to be a case of, oh, we need to think about the next fight. It's just going to be, we need to win this fight.
Yeah,
they're in overtime, let's end it here. So big time bank advantage for Warriors. It's going to give them an extra maybe 2 fights over what Athletico have got. That's assuming Athletico is even able to cap out point A, which it did take them quite a long time to do in their regulation time.
Yeah, it definitely did. Warriors were able to build up a few ultimates, a few key ultimates on that first defense. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to use them effectively. Athletico are kind of showing a DPS composition here, which could throw a spanner in the works, but I'm assuming Warriors know how to deal with it. They play the DPS themselves, so they should know how to handle themselves against it. We've slept straight out of the spawn by Tongue. No follow-up because there's no long-range damage, but it still kills it. Passo's been found in the backline already. Fire grenade goes out, and Huss, thank you for the ult charge.
Yeah, 37% already. Rubo is trying to force his way onto the point, but Warriors playing around it fairly accordingly. The shield up from Modern.
Also has some nice energy here too.
Oh, Huss gets picked.
Nice energy on the side, but it doesn't matter if Huss is going to feed.
Oh, the concussion blast does throw Modern right into the point. They're not too keen on contesting just yet. Warriors going to try and give Huss as much time as possible to get back into this point, but sooner or later the contest does have to come. They're not going to get there in time. That was such a nice boot.
Passo goes bowling and collects a strike there to push them all off the point. And when that Sombra goes down, that means that Wrecking Ball has free reign, and you saw how much impact he had just then.
Now a bit of a question mark for Warriors, a question mark above their head.
They haven't got much ult charge on these key ultimates too. 64% on EMP, 33% on Graviton Surge, so this could be dangerous. They could go down to a Wuvo Rocket Barrage here very, very quickly.
Yeah, this is where you start to see the overtime snowball start to come into effect, with Athletico having such an advantage on terms of all of the ultimates, really. But if Huss can just, I mean, maybe if he can even pick D-Field here, he's gotten past the Venom Mine.
I've seen D-Field hit those though, so... Oh, Wuvo takes out jungle very early on in the fight, and now the Rocket Barrage comes out and it takes out Noz. 2-for-1 trade on the side of the Warriors at the moment, but they have evened it up. It's an even fight swinging around, and Roro taking out Design will turn the tides in the Warriors' favour.
They're off the point. I think the fight was going the way of Warriors anyway. Look at this EMP from Huss. Is what would have potentially sealed the deal anyway.
Style points from Huss, finishing the map off, but I think Athletico will be a little disappointed there. They looked 2-1 up in the fight, they were looking good, but they just couldn't close it out, and getting off that cart means the overtime big ticks down.
I mean, I get what you're saying, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but in a sense I also feel like you have to be pretty happy with being able to cap out point A with only a minute on the clock, and to at least even be able to push the payload a little bit.
Well, that gives yourself a win condition really, and that's all it's all about.
There's a chance, right?
Yeah, exactly. Setting yourself up, giving yourself the best opportunity to win, and they've got a little bit of push too. They seem to push it a lot further than what we had yesterday in the Order Ground Zero series, so chance for Athletico to take this map, it's pretty high actually at the moment.
Well,
especially if they can pull out something a little funky here, a little bit different. Maybe take a minute off the clock as the Warriors try and figure it out.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're just going to be going in for this Winston version of the 3-3.
Athletico doing everything they can to stay alive in the series. And Warriors perhaps less than 3 minutes away from winning their 4th series of Overwatch Contenders Australia Season 2.
As we see Tongue swapping over to the Ana, we will see Modern swapping over to the Rhine. Oh, no, they're going to go into the DPS composition here. So they are expecting a Goat's Hold, and they're trying to counter it with this DPS.
Well, they've gambled correctly, or they've seen exactly what Athletico were doing. And Oz going to be on the flank here, charged by Passo on the Winston, but he's going to get some helping hand from Tongue. He'll back up. Passo needs much the same.
Tongue already in a great position to get the Biotic Grenade off while playing on that top right, and he catches Passo with that. So Passo goes down early, and this is a disastrous situation for the side of Athletico. But they do clean up Huss.
1-for-1 could be worse, that is for sure, but 1-for-1's favouring the attackers on this point. They're going to get back a little quicker. However, Passo did go down first, so I'd say both of the players that dropped are going to return at roughly the same time. Now, the danger is what's lurking in the sky right now. 91% on Roro, but Quad-J quickly turns that one back in the favor of Athletico. This fight starting to favor them, and this hold starting to favor them. Maybe the map starting to favor them as well, as Quad-J finds another couple of kills. Warriors are building up their ultimates though, so it's the benefit of the extra time bank that they had available. They can afford a couple of fight losses like this and really throw everything at this next fight. Perhaps speaking of, Rocket Barrage is going to get Wubo. That's not a pick that you want to see come across here if you're Athletico. Maybe they have to give this one up. Maybe they're still able to salvage it. We shall see in the coming seconds as Huss looks for an EMP.
Roro gets clipped by that Diva Bomb, and it's in a messy fight as the ultimates come out from both sides. Now Huss will go in with the EMP. Hits 5, it seems. JJ going down, losing the mech means that there's not going to be not much contest coming out, but Paso re-engages with that nano boost.
They're going to be enough here in the tank though. For Warriors, it was a decent EMP, but I felt as though the follow-up certainly was lacking. Paso's low on HP, the Bionade causing that, but he will survive courtesy of a bubble. Quad-J in a dangerous position, but will be bailed out by the Primal Raging Winston with the nano boost. What else could you really want as a main tank? Paso doing a great job of pulling a lot of that aggro from Warriors.
Quad-J's managed to get his mech back too. He didn't go down that whole time. He's got a lot of ult charge for his support. The Warriors ult rotation and coming back up again. Wuvo throws out this Graviton Surge and catches Huss in it, and he'll go down. First one in the fight. Design has the sound barrier if they need it, but they won't.
Got to cop the L there as Warriors. But that's a big
22
cooldown
seconds.
It's a big cooldown loss for Athletico. We were not having Graviton Surge. As you say, 20 seconds on the clock here. Almost everything coming up for Warriors. Rocket Barrage we've seen have an impact. Dragon Strike maybe not so much, but there's always a chance it's going to clip one player, and that might be enough for Warriors to cap this point out. But 7 seconds, Athletico, that's all they need to do. That's all they need to hold for. But it's such a dangerous task. Roro lurking in the sky with a Rocket Barrage, looking for the opportunity, but it'll be the mines that open it up. Wubo drops as a result. Huss also finding Paso, and now Goob's under pressure from Roro in the sky. It looks as though Warriors finally will be able to cap out point A, and Athletico have to change their defense on the payload phase.
Playing Ultimate Chicken at the moment is designed with this sound barrier. He knows that Huss had the EMP, so he's too scared to throw it out. You don't want to get caught and get your ultimate stripped off like that, so he ends up having to let Wuvo die, let all these players go down, and will it be worth it though? He's the key player right now. He needs to stop this EMP from having effect. He needs to get that beat drop off, get that rally off, but I don't know if it's going to be able to. This is a very good point for Huss. They have to come to the cart. They have to stack up.
Huss and Roro.
Roro choosing to stay onto that Pharah too. On previous attacks, he's swapped off. But in this overtime fight, he knows that this is a key.
EMP Rocket Barrage, that may be the win condition. It's going to be the engage from Athletico, and so too from Huss. He collects 3 with the EMP. Roro, the Dragon Blade. Sorry, not even the Dragon Blade. Too many times. It was the Rocket Barrage, but it was completely eaten by Quad-J. It's Athletico. They're winning the map. Kings Row surely now goes their way, and it does. Warriors, it's no longer the 4th map curse. Maybe time to start thinking about the 3rd map curse. Athletico still alive in the series.
And Quad-J on that Diva, as well as Design on that Lucio, really clutched out that fight. They both dodged the EMP. Those are the 2 heroes that need to dodge that EMP. If those 2 heroes get caught, fight over. Roro's Rocket Barrage just cleans everyone up. But they dodge it, he gets the sound barrier off, the Matrix comes out on the barrage, and that's it.
Yeah.
Fight suddenly disastrous for the side of Warriors.
Perfect
Perfect play for them. So really well done for Athletico to adapt to that Sombra EMP that they were getting so much trouble out of in the earlier round and come back and win this game. They just won the map versus Warriors. They'll be really happy versus that.
Yeah, well, there's still much more work to be done as we'll look toward Dorado. But speaking of that last map, obviously you talk about the EMPs being super impactful on the initial attack for Warriors, but I felt what really sort of let them down was on the defense. You know, they're getting picked off a little bit too much, and then even into the time banks, the picks sort of seem to come a lot more there for Athletico. And I mean, you've got to be really disappointed, I think, there as Warriors for having lost that map after such a fast attacking time and being totally on top. Is it another case again of Warriors? They sort of seem like once they feel like they've won the series, once the series is over, it's just like the foot comes off the pedal a little bit.
Yeah, they did look a bit too comfortable, I guess, there. And I mean, there's some questionable mistakes, especially on their defense. They looked a little sloppy. They didn't look as clean as, you know, previous maps, especially that Paris map they looked very clean on, and this map they looked a lot sloppier. So if there's any sort of hesitation or if there's any sort of weakness there, Athletico have shown to be a team that can punish these mistakes. And again, once more, punishing mistakes of the Warriors on the defense.
Yeah, well, what we spoke about coming through from the halftime break was that, okay, Athletico are going to feel like they're out of this series now. They're not going to have any confidence after going down 0-2 early on in the piece. But straight away, you win that third map, you're right back into it. Hey, this may be possible. We might be able to win Dorado. Maybe we can win the tiebreaker.
Definitely a bit of a wake-up call for the Warriors, and definitely the momentum in this series swapping over to Athletico after that break. And I thought at the halfway point in that King's Row that they were going to be done and dusted too, but they've opened the door, the Warriors. They've let Athletico back in the series, and that's not somewhere you want to be.
Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. We've heard that many times before. I don't know if that's necessarily the mile taken just yet, though, by Athletico. That certainly is the inch given, though, by Warriors. That's the ability to get back into the series for Athletico, where otherwise it looked like it was completely shut out by Warriors. I expected right now at this point to be saying, great, Warriors have won the series 3-0, third, fourth map, curse maybe notwithstanding. It probably doesn't matter too much really for Warriors at that point because they're still up 4-0 as far as the standings are concerned in terms of series wins. But now that's still that little caveat. It feels unlikely to me that Athletico are going to come back in and win this. I think that's the kind of thing that Warriors are going to go, all right, we messed up on King's Row. But it's pretty clear that throughout this entire series so far, they have been the better team.
Yes, definitely agree with that. The Warriors have looked impeccable except for that defense. And as soon as you have one little showing of weakness, and Athletico were very quick to adapt, it just means that this series is suddenly alive. Dorado is a map. They did go down to Legacy, the Warriors. They dropped Dorado to Legacy earlier on in the season to a bunker composition on defense. They got full held, actually. It was a very one-sided map. So hopefully they'll be checking against that this time. Atletico has shown a bit of bunker, but not to the extent that Legacy has. So it's anyone's game here at the moment. With the way the momentum goes, and if there's any sort of hesitance on the side of the Warriors going into this map, Atletico could sneak it into the third.
Is it the comeback? Are you feeling the comeback?
Am I on the comeback train, the hype train? I'm not quite. I mean, I think Tung, Huss, these players are just too strong, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility.
All right. I'll take that. I'll be happy with that. Let's up to Warriors now as to which side is going to start where, having lost the previous map.
They will start on the attacking side, and it looks like Atletico will pull out a Orisa composition. They have Quad J on the Sombra, D-Field on the Widow.
Now, the one interesting thing about this map for me is that Warriors did lose it really, really convincingly to Legacy.
I think Warriors were caught off guard by that Legacy composition, playing that Clockwork Vendetta. They had the Tourbillon, they had the Roadhog. I remember that map very fondly. It was a very nice one to watch, actually, in Week 1. So I think that getting caught off guard is not going to happen versus this Atletico composition. It's a more of a standard composition out of Atletico. They are playing only the one tank, but it's something these guys would have faced a lot and prepared for. And Warriors, yeah, they're coming out on the DPS, which is quite strong against this. If they can isolate the supports or isolate the Widowmaker, it's quite hard for Atletico to get value out of this.
Field is not really going to have much chance of being isolated.
This is going to be a fun one. Huss versus D-Field on the Widowmaker. It's a very old school duel.
Yep. Seen it before, but it's been a while. Bo spot the info early. Design. That's so dangerous, jumping up and down against Huss. He's not happy with himself. You can see a bit of a shake of the head. That's better. That's vintage Huss. And that is an opener for Warriors. But, of course, with Mercy, the revive does come back across. Still, that is out of the picture. And all it takes now is one more from Huss. He's got another opportunity. Doesn't connect.
Huss, the deadly Widowmaker, going up against D-Field. Two old hands going at it. Huss already gets the first pick, but D-Field has a lot of ult charge.
Huss is slamming in the face. I think that was a rocket that was a direct hit.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure for Huss here. He's got two things to worry about, where D-Field really only has one. The defender's advantage is very real. Tung on the Roadhog, not a hero I often see him on. So, bit of a throwback as well. Tung used to be a DPS player back in the day, so he's quite good at these aiming heroes. As shown by his impeccable arm.
Yeah. So He's got the whole hog built up. No, he doesn't. 44%. I don't know what I'm looking at. But regardless, there is a rocket barrage that is available. Perhaps not going to be used. Obviously, Wuvo dead. Oh, Tung! Just smacks Design face. 19% though. Not a big meat shot. Still, that's fairly solid stuff from Warriors.
Yeah, they've managed to break this choke down pretty quickly. D-Field now swapping off the Widowmaker onto the Hanzo. Quad J has the EMP to re-engage this fight, and Wuvo with that rocket barrage. If Huss doesn't stand too far back, if Huss is standing nice and far back, it's going to be hard to get that one off, I should say.
So straight onto the point to try and contest. There's only so much you can do as a lone wrecking ball. Wuvo with the rocket barrage. It's not really going to do too much through the defense matrix of Noz, and this fight was a bit of a nothing fight, really, it felt like.
Yeah, it felt like Athletico spewing in and Warriors just using their ults effectively. They only actually had to use the infra side there, so as soon as they knew what was coming in, they were able to deal with it accordingly. And now it's kind of hard to push Warriors off this cart. They have these big beefy boys in Noz, Tung and Modern. Big shield too. Huss and Roro don't need much healing, so Jungle can solo heal this. It's going to be very difficult for Athletico to push them off. They need this EMP to be big value. It needs to be a big nade as well as the big EMP.
Could well be a big one from Quad J, spotted by Noz. Only 2 players connected, but enough to dispatch of Modern. Tung, however, Huss as well, are able to throw a couple back at Athletico. The right click's going out as Design flies around in the air on Mercy with a Valkyrie. It's really not going to be much of a fun time for him. And this again feels as though we are back to the Warriors on King's Row attack.
Yeah, and Athletico looking to kind of mirror the composition. They are going to a clockwork composition. D-Field will stay on the Hanzo though. The Hanzo is quite decent versus the Orisa compositions. You just throw that dragon behind the shield and it's not there, but the pull pork combo comes out. Modern and Tung, the alley-oop, means that there's going to be another fight win for Athletico. Oh, Quad J going down to Roro's lucky log.
You hate to see it. You
really
to see
do.
it. I swear to God, Hanzo was the character that I hated the most when I was playing a lot of Overwatch. It just feels so unfair at times, and I think that is one situation for Quad J. You know, he gets the wall up and arrow just sneaks through, straight into the head, bam, there you go, 200 HP gone. Warriors are through to point B with no real contest once again. Modern gone up, but Tung returns the favour. Modern with the Fortify on will not really survive too long. He didn't have the HP to play with. Now, Quad J onto the point, and the ice block is going to buy some more time. Warriors are going to have to back away here. They've lost too many numbers.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they swap it up here. This composition that Athletico is on is quite susceptible for quite a lot of compositions, but I think that Warriors, they'll be fancying themselves. They've got a lot of time in the bank. They've got some good ultimates. Maybe they'll stick for one more fight, get the EMP off, get the whole hog off. Does a lot of damage.
Ooh. Dangerous game to be playing, Quad J.
Roro's out here shooting logs and you've just got icicles. I wouldn't take that fight.
Yeah, if you hit a headshot, he doesn't die, but if he hits a headshot, you die. As for an EMP here, it's the Holt EMP combo, gonna suck them all in, and unfortunately it hasn't worked out the way that Warriors would have liked, with Tung dropping early on in the fight to Wuvo, who now has the whole hog and is using that with a vengeance, really. Noz is going to be demec'd.
Yeah, Tung hooking Wuvo in and thinking, yippee, you're going to get a kill here, but it turns out Wuvo's nano booster and just one-taps him in the dome. Goes down quite fast, young Tung. So now, Warriors have used their ultimates. They used the 3 that they had previously. It's just the whole hog, and Huss has gone on to the Ash.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I think this is a hero that's underutilized. I was very fond of it when I was with Order, and I'm still fond of it. I think Bob, very powerful ultimate.
Charges pretty quickly as well. Quad J does get the wall up, but that's not going to protect him from the hook. The ice block will, but there's a meat shot available for Tung. Quad J will fall, but it's at the cost of Huss. So a 1-for-1 trade, and now Warriors are losing that advantage, even if there were one. With the DMAC coming across. Huss does get picked up off the floor by Jungle, and Tung has a Bionade, so that take a breather is not really going to be taking a whole lot for him. Warriors are really struggling to get here into phase C.
Roro with another lucky log, takes out Goobs, and this will open the door for Huss and the boys to come in. They're forced into a bad position on the side of Athletico, and it looks like Warriors will just walk on them. Although the May ult coming out might say something different.
Right, indeed. Hook's going backwards and forwards. We were having to back away, but it's Tung that will fall. The wall goes up by Quad J, and now the whole hog comes out, but that won't last for too long at all. Roro starting to find his element with the Hanzo. Design jumping straight onto the point. That's more of a sacrificial lamb than anything else.
It's going to be hard to get Huss off this high ground now, and he's got Robert too. He can send that boy in, and he can push the cart. It's a nice point for Rob, actually. Oh, Bobbit.
Old Robert Bobbit. Your mind smash.
Oh, he's got a lot of names in there.
That's a good multiple combo, and it's going to be the end of a Wubo, perhaps also the end of the map here. Haas is going to throw Bob in as a crossfire setup. It'll be quite quickly shut down by the looks of things as Pasto fires into it, but Noz, he's managed to get two with the self-destruct. Roro as well won. And that is a very quick fight. Exactly what you need on point C, because that can be one where the trickle really comes into effect for the defenders.
Yeah, the Warriors, they're able to use a lot of ultimates, you know, a lot of zone denial ultimates, the Dragon, the Bomb. Even the Robert comes out and they deny a lot of space. There was no safe space for anybody to stand really at the end of that point for Athletico, but Athletico did take a lot of time off the clock there. They held them up, and a minute in overtime, it might not be enough. It depends how this Athletico attack goes. If it's like anything like King's Row and Warriors start faltering, this map can be finished pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I always kind of get the sense that if you can finish Dorado, that feels like a pretty solid achievement in itself.
It's definitely one of those maps that can be very, very difficult to close out. We've seen that in the previous weeks of Australian Contenders already. A lot of teams getting stuck at the very end of this map.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of teams getting stuck at the very start of this map this week too, with some nice full holds or early holds coming out. So Warriors, and they look like they are going into a composition that does lend itself to that. So if we can get a nice early hold here from the Warriors, it could be pretty dire stuff from Athletico.
How easy is that going to be against what Athletico is running?
Certainly is more difficult than running into the mirror.
Yeah.
I think this is a better way to clear out that first fight if you're the attacking team, by using the Orisa, using these high damage heroes.
Alright. Can Warriors make amends for King's Row? Or do we head on to Busan, which would be the tiebreaker map should we need it? Right now, the series 2-1 in the favor of Warriors. And onto the final map, halfway through, Warriors have, I would say, done a reasonable job on their attacking side. The onus now on them to do the same on the defense. Muvo and Design looking to put some early damage into Warriors and force them off of the high ground and force them away back under the bridge, which is exactly what they've done. Modern keeps that shield up, but Warriors have to power away inside.
Yeah, and Noz just trying to farm the energy here. Just make sure that anyone that comes close gets lasered down pretty quickly. But looks like Huss will open up here, and he gets the hack onto the Orisa, and they all pile on.
Huss is going to have to translocate back on out, but he's done well enough. Passo down early. Modern has suffered a Bionade, and that is actually going to be the end of him. So, despite backing a 2-1 trade favouring Athletico, Revival come across, and now we're at fairly even situations. 1-for-1 trades are certainly going to favour Athletico right now, and well, they're getting even better than that, though. Noz will just chunk through Wubo's HP. There's still some life left yet in Warriors.
As long as Noz and Roro are alive, the fight will live on. Those two heroes are very hard to take down for these DPS heroes. And it looks like they've managed to stabilize here. Roro's up to a lot of ult charge too. Once that rally comes out, it's been quite difficult to displace him off that card.
Modern swapped onto the Winston in the meanwhile as well. Not feeling too happy on the Reinhardt, and this is going to give a bit more of a die potential for Warriors, maybe a bit more harassment on the Flyers. D-Field and Quad J, though, are going to make sure that that is not really an option at all for Warriors. They'll have to give this point up now. 3 go down in very quick succession.
D-Field looking sharp again on this Widowmaker. Cleans up 2 headshots there. Opens the fight with the headshot onto jungle. And closes the fight with the headshot onto Huss. Now there's some decent ults coming up on the side of Athletico. They have the EMP. They have the Bongo coming up. They got the Valkyrie as well. So they could hold this composition for a few more fights. Here's these headshots again. Takes him straight off the wall. That's what you love to see if you're playing Widowmaker. D-Field really turning up after not getting much done on the defense.
Yeah. It's always good to see the Widow having an impact. Not something I'm too used to in my own games. Wubo, top of all the Warriors players, putting damage in, but again it's D-Field, again it's the headshot, again it's jungle that goes down. He's feeling a sense of deja vu here. At least Roro is able to trade back one, but Huss is out of the fight for the meanwhile, and Wubo with his Rocket Mirage should put the nail in the coffin, although he's very low, just has to slow things down a little. But D-Field has such a nice angle to work with here, even with that Winston bubble going up, he's able to get a couple of tags in.
Yeah, the Warriors running scared of D-Field at the moment. They really need to find an answer for him. Roro swapped over onto the Tracer just to try and close the distance, give him a bit more trouble, but that means that the side of Quad J will be unchecked.
Wubo is able to have some really good damage going into the Warriors players. There's another kill for him, 3 in the fight. Roro on Tracer hasn't really been able to do a whole lot. The bongos are down on the ground, but that's the least of Roro's Warriors at this point. Hide away in the Winston bubble, but there's only so much you can do as Roro there with 50 HP. He'll fall.
That's a good pick by Modern though, late in the fight. Will it be enough to turn the tides? Tung gets Wuvo as well. Passo anti-nated, so he can't be healed up, and it looks like the Warriors have steadied. I thought that fight was definitely going to be on the side of Athletico, but the Warriors end up coming back and just steadying the ship. Now, Athletico swapping over to a 3-3 composition, or a 3-2-1 as the Sombra on Quad J remains. Now it's a mirror matchup. Warriors with the ultimate advantage of that beat. If they can go fast, get a nice fight win, build up some of these tank ultimates, could be the end of this map.
2 minutes 36. It's still a fair bit of time for Athletico to play with, so it's not the end of the road just yet. The charge goes in from Athletico on the back of a nano boost on Passo. No kills to come of it just yet. A good bio-nade onto Warriors. Does put Roro low. Modern and Noz also suffering the effects of that. They'll survive for now. Still, it's a player advantage for Athletico. Self-destruct out from Noz to try and buy some space. It'll do just that, but only for a moment, as no kills come from it.
Passo's closing in on this EMP, and that's going to be the fight sealer, I believe. Quad J as well, though. Who's going to pull the trigger earlier? It is Quad J for the first time. He's pulled the trigger and got the EMP off, and that will be the bio-nade to finish it off. Good coordination there between the Ana and the Sombra player.
Yeah, Hust is just going to give this one up, try and waste another couple of seconds on the card, but for all the good that that's going to do. We're up to 3 minutes, past 3 minutes now for Athletico on the clock, but
this next fight is very important for Warriors too. If they don't get the value that they need off this EMP, if the rally comes out and the bio grenade maybe hits a shield or doesn't hit these targets, it could end up getting snowballed on this map.
So a good hack coming out from Hust. It's going to connect onto 4 players. Passo will fall early on in the piece, and Wuvo just decides to back away. The rest of the team still sort of committed onto the cart. That's going to end. At least Wubo's able to keep the energy charged up on his Zaya. But that's a fight that Warriors really needed. Yeah,
D-Field did get the rally off, but the team wasn't, stacked up enough. They were getting shot from the high ground. The anti-nade comes out, so unable to survive through the Hus EMP. Now Athletico's turn. What are they going to be able to do? Are they going to be able to use this Graviton Surge to its full effectiveness?
Oh,
he's hit the roof.
No way. I don't know how that's happened, but Athletico's not going to be happy with it at all, as Warriors will just run all over them. That is a shocker from Wubo.
It's very, very unfortunate from Wubo. Maybe he got hit by a Zarya right there. It just knocks you up a little bit, changes your momentum, and
I think you might be right. I think he got booped up.
Yeah, I think he just got knocked up, and that changes your crosshair ever so slightly. It comes, and the Graviton Surge kind of lobs out of the gun too, so that's really unfortunate. He'd like that one back, that's for sure.
Definitely. It's going to take a little while for Athletico to get themselves recouped. Hust has, in the meanwhile, been able to build an EMP to 96%. Roro goes low early on in the piece, but he's okay. Going to get the nano boost over, I think it was. No, it doesn't look like it. It's just getting healed up. That's okay, though, for Warriors. Roro's been hit by the bio-nade, but still, he's fine. EMP goes across from both sides. Who gets the better of it at this point? Both the Sombras will fall, but the Zion is the next. And that means Athletico, again, are going to have a pretty lacking team fight. They're not really going to be able to get a whole lot done. Sound barrier thrown in, though, from Jungle, and no boost as well from Tung. Maybe Warriors didn't feel as comfortable in that fight as it looked like they were.
I think the bio-nade came through from Goobs and hit a few targets, and Jungle just panics a little bit.
At least they get the kill onto Passo there, but maybe an over-investment from Warriors.
Now we see Quad J turning onto that maze, so this is something that Auto struggled with a lot.
Yeah, let's have a look at this quickly.
Yeah. Gets hit by that bright flick from Noz, and that's super unfortunate.
Well, straight back into the swing of things. Athletico now have 1 fight left available to them. Modern drops it down to contest the payload. He's got EMP available. Graviton Surge looks to have missed there from Noz. Not a good start to the fight for the Warriors, especially given Another Bionade is going to connect onto Roro. They've been good so far from Goose, and finally a fight that starts to favour Athletico. 2 picks already their way, and they'll continue to push on forward. Modern getting the heck out of there, charging away in towards spawn, and he needs to go even further. Tongue is there to help him out, but I think actually Modern might well get picked here. What a great chase! The shadow goes down as well, but it does not really connect on what it needed to. Graviton surge through now from Wuvo, and all in this meanwhile, 2 players on the cart. Atletico have done it with 4. There is a contest from Warriors, but I don't think it's going to last for too long at all. Modern out now on the Wrecking Ball, has to try and get onto the cart. Pile driver in, it's not going to connect onto anything. He gets his shield up as well, but how long can Warriors actually survive here? Athletico, they surely are able to cap through now.
Yeah, they were able to chase them into the spawn and get these stagger spawns. Roro with the rally out though. This is going to be a hard hero to take down. Hustle's back on the Sombra, but he's just building his EMP a little bit too slowly. The boys get off the cart, and that means there's going to be a full push for Athletico. And we mentioned that if you're feeling pretty good, if you cap the map, and now we go into Time Bank where anything can happen, as we saw on Kings Row.
Well, slight advantage really for Warriors, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like on Escort, the time bank advantage is not as impactful as it is on the likes of Hybrid and Assault. Because once you can win that first fight, if you can win that first fight, it becomes a case of pushing in overtime regardless of both teams.
I think the way the spawns work on Escort, it's a lot easier to snowball the full map.
Yeah.
Compared to Hybrids and, well, yeah, just Hybrids and 2CP.
So it's not as much about the time that you've got available at the start as what you can do once you're in the overtime fights.
Exactly. It's all about that overtime clutch fights, and we saw Athletico had the better ones on Kings Row.
And it would be an absolutely crazy series if we actually ended up going through to Busan here. After utter domination from Warriors in the first half, and I would say maybe even in the first 60% of this match, considering they started on the Kings Row attack and they had such a good side there.
Yeah, I think the first 2 maps only took 20 or 30 minutes or something, and now we've seen a really good fight back from Athletico. So this is really positive signs for the rest of the tournament too. It's really close up at the top here, the Australian contenders. Athletico going for this this Roadhog composition again. They're running 2 tanks here, 2 supports, so it is a 2-2-2. Defield on the Widow, they trust in it.
Don't feel as though the trust is misplaced.
No, it looks like they will be swapping back though. They are just going to go for this 3-3. They chicken out.
Well, they know that they don't have too many chances, so they have to make sure that this first or second fight really sticks. So leading the charge straight up onto the high ground, although we boot back on down. Modern to just be a bit of a pest, a bit of a mosquito that they have to deal with. Jumps back to the safety of his teammates as Quad J dives in, so too does Passo.
They're really winding down the clock here before they find their initiation. They're waiting for this good anti-nade from Tongue to come through, and that's what they're going to go on, I reckon.
Well, Modern is under a little pressure here, facing his counterpart Passo down fairly low, but it looks to be the armor pack that heals him back up. Still, Athletico are getting that fight win right on the gong as they need to. It's going to be an overtime push for them, but this is exactly how you would want the map to start. They've got a lot of ult charge over Warriors.
With that overtime death as well onto Modern, it might be difficult for them to get the recontest if they can keep 3 on. It's quite punishing, these overtime spawns. Tusk almost farming up an EMP though. That could be the fight win, as Design is nowhere near his ultimate.
Well, Modern,
but it looks like Warriors are just going to give it up and give them the point.
Yeah, Modern was not going to get there in time. So that's already something that's defendable for Athletico. Anything past here is a bonus.
Definitely is. They're going to have to take this fight very, very soon, Warriors. They're going to want to dive in as soon as possible. Goobs, he knows he's got the ultimate. He's hiding. He doesn't want to get hit by this EMP. That'd be disastrous.
And Passo's also doing fairly similar.
They're just sacrificing Quad J on the cart right now.
Oh, that's huge! Haas is on the ground, but can anyone do anything about it? No, Goobs has slept as well! What is going on? This is an absolute mess. Warriors are going to be able to push forward. They do get the kill on the Goose, but Husk goes down as well after he got the EMP out, I might add. And that might well be enough for Warriors to actually win this fight. I do not know how that has occurred. After the sleep dart was hit from both armors, it's Warriors that come out with the advantage. And they do manage to hold it just around the corner, but...
Great response from the Warriors to go save Husk though. Tongue shooting the sleep dart from downtown as well. Goobs looks so excited he hit that sleep. He was kind of gesturing almost. Come here boys, let's get him, let's get him. But then he sticks around too long, gets slept himself, and the tides have been turned. But we set themselves up for a similar situation to Kings Row, just a little bit past the first checkpoint. This is eerily similar to the way that Kings Row ended.
Yeah.
There was even a jumping off the card. Athletico even jumped off the card at the end there, the exact same way as Kings Row.
History repeats itself.
History does repeat itself. We'll be going to Korea, going to Busan.
Well, onus now again back onto Warriors as they move on to their attacking side. They have a bit of extra time than what Athletico did to play with, so a little bit more wiggle room in those early fights, the initial fights, but whatever the case, this is going to fall into an overtime situation regardless. You know, if Warriors want to cap this one out, want to win this map, they need to push on through with at least I'd say one fight that is in the overtime situation. So, looks to be the DPS composition to start things off for Warriors.
And this is a composition that lends itself to snowballing too, so if Athletico don't deal with this quickly, they are going for this Clockwork Vendetta comp. Maybe Warriors have thought better of it. Maybe he goes onto the Dragon Blade, that maybe he gets the Genji out. Are we going to be treated to it?
Maybe it's going to be standard 3-3 from Warriors.
No, they're going for a double sniper.
Oh.
Interesting.
Roro will stay on the Pharah though.
So they obviously think that this composition is weak to the snipers. They don't have the most distance damage on the side of Athletico, but they do have a big Orisa shield to play around. And if Husk gets shut down here, then it's going to be hard to do anything. Just clipping toes at the moment, Husk. It's clipping toenails. Doesn't do a lot of damage compared to the headshots.
Does not. Roro's doing a pretty good job of building the rocket barrage early. That's a nice shot from D-Field.
Read him like a book.
But this is where the benefit of that extra little bit of time comes in for Warriors. Okay, they can afford to have a bit of a slower push here. Still got time for another reset if need be. Oh, what a hook! Roro will drop to D-Field, and Modern seems to have committed to this fight, which might be the ideal scenario as he's a big fat bunch of HP to feed some ult charge over. Athletico might just be able to do this.
Yeah, the rocket barrage is going to come in from Roro now, and there isn't a lot to stop that. If he can... There is no nano boost. There's nothing really to protect Roro as he's doing this rocket barrage here, so it's going to be... He needs to get kills very quickly, very early in this barrage, because it's going to seal his death, I reckon. There's not going to be much to keep him alive. No Matrix, no nano boost at the moment, no bubbles. It's pretty much a death sentence.
They're looking for the hooks. Maybe Roro's better off not even investing the rocket barrage. Passo's low.
Passo
also goes really low there as well. Looks like Athletico want to try and engage this fight, win it here, but that has not worked out for them at all. Haas has just destroyed them. 2 kills for him before he does go down. He's done his job now. The rest falls on the other players on his team. It's not going to require the investment of the rocket barrage for Roro, which is going to mean we do get into the overtime push, which he are now in.
The Mayult is available though, and that's an ultimate that you do really, really want on overtime fights, getting everybody off the cart, but I don't think Modern's going to be too scared. He can just press his Fortify and run around in it, play in the snow.
The benefit now is that when this rocket barrage is going to be invested in, Tung's going to have that boost up. He's going to have nano boost. He's at 86%. Now we've got all the ultimates starting to come online for Warriors. You talked about the snowball. Well, Jay though with the blizzard, get them all off.
Yeah.
Maybe Modern.
This is really difficult for the side of Athletico though. They need to get early picks in this fight, and with this infra side, it's going to be very hard to do as they can see him coming, the side of the Warriors.
Oh, there's only about 10 meters to play with.
Oh,
this
headshot
is bad
lineup is
indeed.
nasty.
No, he doesn't hit it, but Noz is going to get it. Roro, 2 with me. Rocket barrage. Maybe that's enough. Maybe it's not though. D-Field, Wubo, headshots coming across for both of them as Noz and Roro do fall. Now Quad J's in the mix as well, and they can't afford to get off the cart now, Warriors. This is the worst possible situation that they could have found. Trace at the swap for Roro to try and get back to the fight as fast as possible. As Wubo falls, the numbers start to favour Warriors once again. Is it a case of so close yet so far for Athletico? I think it might be.
Oh, they're so very close. The Transcendence might come in just in time to keep Passo alive. No, he's not going to get there. He is. He just
he's not.
knows. No! The Roro comes out. I mean, Husk comes out on the Doomfist, and these DPS picks moving too fast for Athletico to handle. They're not getting any kills in return, so it's a matter of time until this map ends.
As you say, a matter of time. There's a Doomfist on the other side of the field as well. That's Wubo. D-Field's going to drop as well, and there's no one left to contest. It's Warriors with a 3-1 victory today over Athletico, but it was a damn hard-fought one in the end. Certainly not what we expected after seeing those first 2 maps go so easily the way of Warriors. Athletico have to feel so robbed, really. They were so close to being able to finish that one off, and I feel as though that final fight really could have gone either way, to be honest. But
Yeah, I think
Warriors come up with the goods.
Quad J was dangerously close to clutching that one up. If he gets around that corner, he freezes jungle on the Mercy and takes him out. I think that was the only player in the capture point cart range as well, so that could have been the end of the map right there, but Tung manages to get the bio grenade off, and Wuvo goes down, and that just ends the series there. Oh, it was a good series, though.
Certainly was.
Certainly worth coming out on a Monday night for.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Athletico, unfortunately, they're going to drop down. With the loss, Warriors will boost themselves up into first place, comfortably first place. But yeah, look, another series for Warriors where they've really been pushed, and I think this continues that storyline that we've been sort of selling since the very start of Overwatch Contenders in Australia. You know, Season 1, we kind of had some pretty established big dogs that were absolutely steamrolling the rest. The same kind of said through Season 2, maybe even into Season 3 to an extent as well. But come Season 3 and come Season 1 2019, we started to see that gap sort of closing a little bit, where the top and the bottom were at least able to kind of have competitive series. And not to say that Athletico is towards the bottom, they're certainly a middle-of-the-pack team this season. But for a team like Warriors, who is in the position previously that was held by the likes of Sydney Drop Bears, who were at one point getting 20-0 seasons, to be challenged every single game, they've had only the 1-4-0, and that was against Mavericks. It is, I think, great and beneficial for the Overwatch Contenders Australia scene to have kind of competitive matches like this.
Yeah, you've seen this season especially, there's been 5, 6, maybe even 7 teams that have been ultra competitive, taking maps off each other. There isn't a dominant force anymore, which is something you never thought you'd say, really, in Australia. You'd always thought there was going to be that one dominant force team, but this season has thrown curveballs in that, and it's anyone's game, really, especially with Order not showing up like this. Well, they were predicted to.
Yeah. That is still something that boggles my mind. But anyway, I guess it really opens the door for the teams like Warriors. But it's not to say the Warriors are kind of steamrolling everyone, which means that I suppose when we get to season finals, that actually kind of makes the season finals all the more interesting in their own right as well. Because I feel like even going into the last season finals, there was sort of this air of expectation that it was going to be Order's time finally. But the first 3 seasons, at least in my mind, I felt was fairly comfortably Sydney Drop Bears. Maybe not Season 1, but certainly Season 2 and Season 3. And now, like, if you were to ask me who's going to win this season, I suppose I probably would say Warriors at this point, but it's not anywhere near a sure thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the start of the season, everyone was thinking Order.
Order, yeah. This is going to be Order's dynasty. It's going to be Order's year.
But that's another curveball thrown in now. The Warriors have built a very strong roster and have some very good support behind them. It's going to be interesting to see. We got Athletico, Legacy all looking strong. Mind Freak retooled looking strong. Ground Zero retooled looking strong too. It's everyone's in with a chance here.
Yeah, everyone is in with a chance, and something that everyone wants as well as the Mac is playing.